My history in the music. Well, let's say like in 1958, my mother and father took me up to New York, me and my brother up to New York to visit Naima and John Coltrane. And that was the first time I really had a chance to hear jazz live and also hear improvisation. And that was the thing that really thrilled me, because I always wondered, well, man, what is he doing? You know, and I know at some point when I heard him playing, I figured I thought he had a lot of music written down. You know, like I said, man, but when he opened up the door, it's going to be music falling out of the room. And when he came out and greeted everybody and said hello, I didn't see any music. You know, so that was really a mystery. Okay, well, what was he doing? You know, all that time in there with all those sounds coming out of the saxophone. But that was the first time I really had a chance to hear someone play like that. You know, like, although like in Philly we had a piano, so musicians would come past and play. You know, and they were mainly like pop musicians or rhythm and blues guys that would play and use our piano to rehearse. But none of the guys played like John Coltrane played. So at least I knew then. I said, okay, that's what I want to do. I just needed to find out what I need to learn how to do. And later on that evening, John was talking to us about scales and chords and the fact of really knowing how to play them on piano. You know, like, and he had some chords that I think was really hip that he played. I said, wow, how do you play that? So like, my brother wrote down the voicings that he was using, and you know, like the way he voiced his chords. So that was the thing that really, number one, got me started on improvisation. Number two, got me started on playing chords on piano. You know, and so that was really the beginning of me learning about jazz, really learning how to play it, and trying to move forward. When I came back home, I was still in the same place I was when I left, because I still didn't know those scales. But like, at least then I knew what I needed to study to be able to do that. You know, and also it is a thing also like being able to get out and playing with other musicians. And when you go out to play with younger guys, they know as much as you know. So therefore, like, you can, you know, you want it developing your skill and really studying together, you know, and that's really the key. Also, like in Philadelphia, 59, 60, 61, like they also had a lot of spots that musicians could play if you were good enough. So the whole idea was to be able to be good enough so that you could go and play in those spots, and like, you know, maybe a guy that had a band would be able to hire you. And so that was one of the things to try to do, was try to work myself up to that point so that I could get hired to be on the bandstand and play. And it really, that kind of thing happened for over a period of time, because like, you know, you need time to practice, you know, to develop, and then like then play with other musicians. So at some point I've got good enough so that I could get hired by other band leaders, and that was a good experience too, because then once you got hired, you had to keep the gig, because they had other guys that would come through, you know, like that had been studying up and playing longer, you know, and so one of the things you wind up doing is emulating what those guys did and what they sounded like, you know, and really, and also getting a chance to see how the audience react to what they were playing, you know, and like if you understand why the audience is reacting to what they're playing, then you can kind of pattern yourself after that also, really, which is really very, very important because, like, I find like you can play a lot of notes, a lot of things, but if the audience is not reacting to it, it really doesn't mean anything. And I think it's like what Duke Ellington said: it doesn't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. It has to have that. That should be the bottom line, no matter how good you can play. If you're not swinging and you're not communicating with the audience, then you're in trouble. So. I think Philadelphia was a good training ground for that. To be able to, learn the skill of being able to get on stage and play, and not just play, but also communicate with the audience. And that was one of, it's interesting. Like from Philadelphia, when me and my brother went up to New York, we didn't have to worry about the playing part. It was the business part that we were beginning to learn about. But like the playing part was already there to a large degree. Although we did learn in New York from listening to other musicians and things that we needed to work on. And basically, being a musician, you have to work on it all the time anyway. That's part of the process. Is like that never stops. So yeah. So from then to now, that's one of the things that I'm doing. Although I think at some point my concept have changed somewhat, but the basic fundamentals is always there. Really learning, and it's interesting. One of the things that I learned is like Western music is built up off of major, minor, augmented, and diminished scales and chords and that kind of thing. And practically all of the music from this country is built up off of that. So if you understand what I call them characters, the major character, the minor character, the diminished character, and the augmented character, how they work together, then you can go ahead and write what I call do your drama, write a play, write a poem, because you know how to put those things together to make all of that work, especially like during your solo part.
Why jazz? I mean, you could have done something else. What was it about jazz that?
Jazz. See, I had to learn how to play pop music if I was going to survive. So, and that's good to a degree. And I played with some good bands that was really smoking. I mean, out and out, just smoking bands, like playing pop music. But jazz, and also I tried classical music too. To a degree, but I wasn't really trained as a classical musician, and I found at some point that got to be kind of boring. But with jazz give you the opportunity to express yourself, within different contexts, and basically the soloing part is really the part where that you can bring your personality out, who you are, how you feel, what you think. And the thing is, each person improvises differently. But I think the key to the improvisation is everybody supposed to have the same knowledge about those major, minor, augmented, and diminished. Mm-hmm. And if everybody has those same understandings, then you can really go ahead and use those colors to paint your pictures, as you see them, and as as you get older, it's going to change, but you still have that same palette that you're using, and so therefore, jazz and the improvisation at some point never gets boring. If anything, it's always new avenues and new ways of being able to do it, and. So I think I didn't choose jazz. I think jazz chose me.
I hear you. Stop there.